unfortunately I lost all the footage from making this, but I have Roadhogs hook. Now, this hook was created using EVA foam. I start off with the big block of foam, or the big tile of foam, and then drew the shape of the hook onto it, so it's all one solid piece going round, where it's double thickness. So after I did the first one, I then made the second of it. Then once I had both pieces cut out, I got the bottom piece and got bits of doweling, which is 6mm doweling as I usually use, and I put 2 pieces up the handle, and then did 2 pieces up this part of the curve, and then 2 pieces up this part of the curve, and 1 down there. And this bit shouldn't have any in at all down to the end there, so it's too short to be warpable that much. In the angles here, I did 2 pieces, but they're cutting across the angle and touching to each of the straight pieces, which means that when it tries to bend, it'll have to compress the bits of doweling before it attempts to, or before it'll actually bend too far, which just gives it that little bit more rigidity. And here I got this is all plastic chain, which I got from a DIY store. Again, around here they used to have a thing of putting plastic chain across the end of your garden. I don't know why, they just did, and they've still got it in DIY shops, so again. Then I glued 2 links of that inside the handle, so it probably goes up to about there, and then had one at the bottom so it'll be able to move around and rotate like that. Then I glued the layer on top, or the second layer on top of it, just to seal it all down. Now on these sections here, I then cut pieces that would fit into the top and stuck them on, and then sanded them all. Now, as you can see, I didn't do the best job sanding them, but basically when you sand them, try to get one flat edge on it, so it looks relatively sharp, but then don't get too flat bit across the top, and do the same on the inside. These sections here again just cut and stuck on. Then these spikes are just EVA foam, the same as the rest of it. You can actually see the design of the floor matting on there, because it's only 1 layer thick. And then I got these, which I cut with a hole saw, which was just, when I drilled them, I didn't do it with an electric drill. I run it backwards by hand through the foam, because EVA foam is really grippy, and if you run an electric drill through it, it'll just spin out in your hand and it'll end up with someone getting hurt. So it's best to do it backwards by hand and keep your hand away from the cutting edge, because that's always a good idea. Then once that was all together, it was ready to go to painting. But before you paint like smooth plastics, you're supposed to run some sandpaper along them and just rough up the surface, which will give the surface, or the paint, a good surface to stick to, which is called giving it a key. In this case I didn't, and you can see in places it's starting to rub off, which is my fault. Shouldn't have done that. What I also should have done is add a ring around the top here, which I haven't, but it's better for the actual design. But once I did that, it went off to painting, which I gave 1 layer of plasti dip across the whole thing, and then a layer of plain like chrome paint across the top of that. Now I've got quite a nice enamel chrome paint that doesn't transfer, so that's what I tend to use for metal. Now, once that was done, I gave each coat their proper amount of time to dry, which is a good day. It's quite annoying having to wait a day, but yeah, I do it. Then after that, I got some brown paint, which I believe was burnt umber, I think, and then got some of that and brushed it so I had barely anything on the brush, and just rubbed it on for the rust detailing, as you can see. And then I got some black, did in the little bolt by there, and what should be the shadow around the ring, just so it looks like it could have one, because I forgot it. and of course a hog on the front of the hook, or on the front of the nails, and a little scratch up here. And the final thing I did was to get some old linen, which I had left over from a previous costume. I cut a long strip of it and wrapped it around the handle, just so it's actually got a wrap around it. And that's basically it. If only it took this long to actually do. And that's Roadhogs hook. And sorry I didn't have the actual filming of making it through the stages, but yeah, I lost my computer, so I lost all footage with it. Sorry.